I said I wasn't going to talk about this again. There's always something to come back to. I think something that is really nice about me making these videos and like having this podcast is that I get to revisit some of the topics and like learning lessons I've had this entire time. So something I feel like is always important to come back to. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by all these cars outside. Something I feel like is really important to come back to, especially for me. Like this is something I think is like my driving force within the past few years, really. I couldn't exactly tell you when I started to focus more on it, but the idea of building that community and having like your circle of people is so wildly important. I say this because I've really paid attention to it this year, but I have had the opportunity to not only be surrounded by amazing people, but to continue to be supported by amazing people. I feel like I'm gonna make myself cry. We'll see what happens. So I've mentioned before, building your community, having the right people around you is quite literally one of the most important things you can do for yourself. Not only because like you need to be surrounded by good people, but people who care about you and pour into you are pouring into you for a reason. Like people who really, really care about you, they're gonna call you out in the nicest way possible. They're going to celebrate your wins. They're going to show you that you matter, and they're going to tell you things that push you to keep going. Now, these are not all the things that I've wanted to mention. These are not all the amazing things people have said and done for me, but these are the things that come to the top of my head first. But these things that I'm about to mention have quite literally made me physically, mentally, and emotionally able to get up in the morning. For those who are just now tuning in, I struggle with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and rage. No, so obviously I don't think really sat down and told people like, hey, here are my diagnoses. But I think this is as good a time as any to get into it. So let's get into it. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Chime In with Jaleesa. If you are new here, welcome to the family. If you're returning, glad to see you. There have been so many ways for me to acknowledge the amazing things people have done for me, the way my circle has shown up for me, and the level of gratefulness that I sit in every single day. Now, some of these things, people are going to hear me say this and be like, oh, that's so small, that's so insignificant. But it's not. If that's what you want to think, go for it. It's not your life. These things are so huge for me because I used to wake up dreading the day. I used to wake up hoping and praying that the sun would go back down so I didn't have to deal with whatever was coming. Just a few weeks ago, I found it impossible to drag myself out of bed. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to go work out. I had absolutely no motivation for anything. I then sat with myself and realized that I can sit in that discomfort, in that just disappointment and disinterest of wanting to like be here physically on this earth, and I can wallow in it, but it's not going to get me out of that place. And so I've tried lots of different things. I've mentioned, I go to therapy. I, really try to take care of myself. I've tried to surround myself with good people. And like I mentioned, this is like the whole point of this conversation, this video for me, is to not only express that gratitude, but really point out that these small things, you guys do not understand that the things that you think are small are changing people's lives that you interact with daily. With some of the things I've been told, some of the things that have been done for me, really, really go the extra mile. Like I said, it's been really hard for me to get up lately. I've found myself in another season of the valley, as I shall now call it, season of the valley. And I watch people show up for me in the wildest of ways. So I'm probably going to be working in reverse order here because my memory boggles my mind every single day. And so recently I was kind of scrolling through and I was like, dang, I really do want to record another podcast episode soon. And I kind of sat there and I was like, I don't really have any motivation for it. I don't know what I would talk about. Once again, that self-doubt of, is what I'm saying even important to other people? And there's a few things that I really got to sit in and really understand that, like, what I'm doing, even if it feels small to me, has moved mountains for other people. Which proves my point again, is you may think what you're doing is insignificant, but it's not. Somebody commented on my last video saying that they hope the podcast keeps going and that the video really helped them. And I think I sat there and I think I cried for about 5 minutes because I was like, here is this person who is commenting, having watched my video and found value in it, found it relatable, found it inspiring to keep pushing. Let's go on top of that. Let's add to it. My brother has been doing marathons and half marathons. He's gotten back into running lately. And for a while I was like, sir, are you all right? But I've watched how happy he is. I've watched how excited he's been, getting back into running. I watched my other brother get both of them actually get more into making content. Whether they post it or not, like, I've watched them grow into people who are looking for the best way to capture their own vision. And my brother told me the other day, he was like, hey, keep it up with the podcast. Like, you've inspired me to keep making content, consistent content. And I sat there and that almost sent me into tears because being the youngest in my family pretty much meant everybody had already done something. They've already done it. What I was doing was not original. Me doing track was not original. Me doing cheer, because my brothers were playing football, for me wasn't original. For me doing well in school or in my sport wasn't original because somebody had already done it. But I didn't realize that me doing it made it special. Me pouring into myself made it special. Me going the extra mile to drive myself further made it special. So my brother told me that the other day. I had a coworker and now somebody that I'm genuinely going to call a friend. Like, this person is my friend. She stuck with me because she chose to work at the same job. There's three of us. Good job. There's three of us that kind of try and sit together to eat lunch because we don't eat during the day. But one of them, she texted me and she was like, hey, she texted me yesterday, actually. She texted me yesterday of when I'm recording this. So Sunday. She texted me, she was like, hey, don't forget about lunch tomorrow. I hadn't even made myself dinner at that point. And I was like, oh snap, like, I'll make my dinner and I'll make my lunch in the same process. And I've been eating more consistently because of it. I've been eating at minimum 3 meals a day because somebody has gone out of their way to not only eat with me, but to now remind me that I need to bring my lunch. And that's huge because for those who don't know, something that can affect you, especially when you're battling mental health, is that if you're not taking care of your body, your mind is a part of your body, then you're going to continue to feel bad. That's like working out, going 100%, and then you're like, I'm gonna stay up for 48 hours and I'm not gonna eat. Well, your body doesn't get to heal itself. It has no nutrients to heal itself. It has no rest to heal itself. So when you're taking care of your body, you have to really understand that you need to take care of each and every component of it. My best friend came out to see me. This has been something we've planned since back in February when she came to surprise me for my birthday. She came out to see me, and having her around quite literally takes my mood from 0 to 100. We could be, and we said this 6 times that weekend, I swear. We could sit there and do absolutely nothing and still feel better than we did prior to her coming out. And that's just because that's our friendship. Being in each other's presence is healing. I had the amazing opportunity to watch some of my best friends get married. And then also, like, obviously, like, the wedding weekend, I was with my friends. Obviously, at the wedding, was with my friends. Being around those friendships are so healing because they're genuine. You know, you really know each other. You are cracking jokes about the stupidest stuff. Literally, spilled coffee. Morning of the wedding? Oh my God, I think it was the morning of the... Anyways, not important. But that sent us into oblivion probably until we all left. There's little things that we just kept carrying through the weekend because that was what we wanted to focus on. That was what we found joy in. We were cracking jokes. We were, really enjoying each other's company. We were having deep talks that, again, are so healing. You need these friendships in your life to, one, like I said, call you out with so much love in their heart, to keep you on track, and to just enjoy life together. I think I've really gotten away from just enjoying what life is bringing me. One of my athletes came up to me in my office. Ooh, the lighting went wonky. Came up to me in my office and was like, one, like, I'm checking in. Hi, how are you? Like, I'm doing great. And he was like, oh yeah, so, I was watching this podcast this weekend and it was really interesting. I found a lot of, like, motivation from it. And I was looking at him and I was like, you finna tell me the name of this podcast? Like, I was waiting for what was coming next. And he goes, yeah, it's called like Chime In with Jaleesa, and I can't even make this up. The biggest smile broke across my face because I was like, there's no shot, absolutely no shot that you were sitting here telling me you watched my podcast. Most of my athletes are like, when are you gonna let us be on it? I don't know what the rules are. I don't know when y'all could be on it. I would love to have my athletes on it. I think it provides that amazing point of view of the whole reason why I started this podcast was to show people that not only are you more than an athlete, a statistic, a jersey number, a lineup position, you are a person that has so much to offer, and that being an athlete has really been the driving force of, like I said, why I made this podcast, why I'm so hard on myself, why I find it so important to learn all these lessons in my own time. And so my athletes, as soon as I find out if and how I'm able to have you guys on my podcast, I would love to have you guys. Until then, stop harassing me about it. I don't know. But I love you guys. I love you all so much. And so another thing I got to do this year was go on another family vacation. Growing up, family vacations were track meets, football games, sporting events. And then as we got older, we really found it important as a family to just go out on a trip. I think it started with us going to Hawaii, and then me and my cousin and my sister went to Hawaii. But this past summer, we went to Florida to, like, go to Disney World and Universal and honestly just spend a week together. And when I tell you guys, You can't take my family anywhere. You cannot take us anywhere because we don't know how to act, because we're all like, we act goofy. And so being able to just be literally just like act like a little kid again with my brothers, with my dad, my mom, and like just enjoy each other's company, and like the fact that we were all together on this trip was such a blessing. Like I remember we were playing volleyball, we were smacking a ball to each other in the pool, and for a moment I really thought I was the only child to take swimming lessons, because I swear my brother was drowning every time. Every time water went into his face, like he would have thought he was drowning. And you know, we were walking around in the beautiful thunderstorm of Florida, walking around Disney, and me and my brothers were still like, we're getting on that ride, like we will wait this storm out. We would just like the way we were talking to each other and, you know, enjoying each other's company, walking around, just like being in each other's presence, watching movies together. Like I think every time we get together, I think we try to go to the movie theater. So we got to do that together and, you know, just really talk and be in each other's face. And for somebody who has not lived at home in 6 years, we'll say 6 years, that is wild to me. I moved to North Carolina at the age of 18. I briefly came home. I moved to Philadelphia for 2 years, and now here I am living where I am. And I have not lived at home. The only time I'm really home is to visit for like holidays and stuff. And so, you know, to really be in my family's presence and, like I said, be in their face and in their bubble and just crack jokes and be loud and all the things that I do anyway, is really, really nice. Like I don't get that opportunity often. So I think it's not more special, because anytime I get to see my family is amazing. But like I said at the beginning, it really lets me sit in this moment of gratitude, because the people you keep close to you, I think I've mentioned this before, the people you surround yourself with, that's how you act. So I saw something that was like, if you hang out with a bunch of alcoholics, you're going to be the next one. If you hang out with a bunch of thieves, you're going to be the next one. If you hang out with a bunch of people who are doing right, you're going to be the next one. If you hang out with a bunch of people who say, one of the things I want to get back into, and I mentioned this last episode, I think, was reading. I really want to get back into just like reading. It doesn't have to be like self-help books or anything crazy. It doesn't have to be mainstream. It can be the old series that I loved reading when I was a little bit younger. But just to get back into that habit, I literally still haven't, because I haven't given myself the opportunity to make that time. And I want somebody to hold me accountable to it. Just like I want somebody to hold me accountable for eating and going to the gym and doing all these things. And this is completely not sponsored, obviously. Come on. But and matter of fact, I'm not even gonna say the app. Anyways, so I use this app now. And at first when I like downloaded it, I was like, this is kind of silly. Like this is, like, is this even gonna help me? I open this app every single day and I do the little breathing exercises. I write, you know, reflections on the day. I, you know, really take the time to make sure, you know, did I go wash my face? Did I take anything I needed to take? Did I eat? Did I put my clothes away? Did I do something productive? Like whatever's on this list, did I check these things off? Did I go to bed at a decent time? Did I turn my phone off an hour before I went to sleep? No. And that's why that one's not on the list. But, you know, did I take the time to show myself gratitude? You know, and I've really started using this app, and I remember there was one day I clicked on it, and every time you click on it and like you open it, it's like, oh, how are you feeling right now? And I think I put like the saddest face on it, and it was like first aid. And so it comes up with all of these like breathing exercises and, again, reflections, gratitude moments, rant zones, like all these things. And again, at first I was like, this is dumb, like it's not gonna work for me. And for whatever reason, it's really been working for me. And part of making sure it continues to work for me is staying on that habit. So I encourage all of you to stay on the habit of keeping good people around you. I'm gonna keep coming back to it, building your community, being in your community, pouring into your community because you want them to pour into you. It's not enough to find the right people, but to be active with those people. To every single one of you that is in my community, that is in my circle, I love you to pieces. I love you so wholly and so authentically that I'm rooting for you. If we haven't talked in a while, know that I'm wishing the best for you. That regardless of what may have happened, how long it's been since we've talked, you have so much success coming your way. You have so much love headed your way. Give yourself that grace. Pour into those who pour into you. And really, truly find the happiness and the gratitude in those moments, whether they're small, whether they're big, whether they seem like they are getting you up in the morning or letting you sigh peacefully at night. Be grateful for everything that comes your way. Just because it's not something super amazing and positive doesn't mean it's negative. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you can't keep pushing further. Just because you mess up once doesn't mean your life is over and everything is going to crumble and fall. It means you have a new opportunity to find a better way to do it. To find a way that works for you. So let yourself grow in those moments. Find yourself the right people and keep them around. And like I said, thank you so much for chiming in with Jaleesa. You matter. You are so important. And I'm so happy you're here. And until next time, peace.